going on, people? There's your blind buddy here again. I'm gonna come. We got any peppermint? No peppermint in? We get a piece. I'm gonna come in here with this one, man, and I'm gonna call this one, consolidated, educated commentary. It's where I'm gonna take, and so people can see and hear the life experiences that I've had throughout my life and how they relate to what we all seek. You understand what I'm saying? All right. Now, my life experiences, I'm gonna consolidate them all in an educated manner, as best I can. Now, if I say something you don't like, I'm sorry, it's my life, so give a damn about what you talking about, Because I'm going to tell you, it's not in a preaching manner, because I'm not looking for tithing. I'm not preaching none of that stuff. I'm not preaching at all. I'm just simply sharing my experiences in life that other people may have had the same experiences. Well, you can see how what I'm saying about the spirit that possesses me is doing for all that's like me, that have experienced and went through the life experiences that I have, went through myself. So to let you know, I'm not talking about something that I don't know nothing about, because I've had experience. So with that being said, I'm gonna kind of ease on into it. It's like start from my childhood, and it goes into how the education system is that we, how as today, and how it has an effect on children, and the way it forms children up, and to be in this world that God wants us to come away from. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. All right, so as a child, being a black child at that, I come up in a town, a place where, in a time, in an age where racism still existed, like it does today. Well, people didn't want to acknowledge it being in existence then, but it was just as prevalent back then as it is today. Right, during the course of this time, as a child, I was not a dummy, It's not a dumb child. I had to get older as I am now to realize, and God had to show me that I was never dumb. I could do anything that could needed to be done, and I got good grades in school, and I was actually advanced more than what I should have been. But I was marked as a child with behavioral problems. A child with behavioral problems. I'll tell you something about me as a child. God had to take me back and show me, as a child, to this world, I was a problem child, because I was a child that would say whatever. Like his mouth, it's his little mouth. It's like I remember, I have a very, very vivid memory of my childhood and my coming up. And God showed me, and these things coming up as a child, like me getting in trouble because of my mouth as a kid. I'm a child. These are adults that didn't like what a child was saying. I used to get in trouble a lot for just drawing, and these were adults that would get mad at a child for drawing and asking questions that they didn't want to answer. And when me being a child, I'm like, well, every time you ask me something or you say something, and I have something to say, if you're teaching me, then you should be able to answer a child, because I'm in your class for a reason. There's things I don't know. And if you're only going to teach me what you want to know and just want me to shut up and don't want me to ask any questions, then what are you trying to say? And I remember teachers were really, really mean to me. They were white teachers. Sorry, but that's what they were. I got my behind beat by white women all the time. I got called a little niglet. You know, this was being raised up by people that were supposed to be teaching me. It didn't matter if I could do the work. I didn't look like I should have been in their classes. For one, you know, I was an ugly little kid. I had thick glasses, you know. It didn't matter if I could do the work. I just didn't fit in the part where, you know, I was a controllable kid. I had a behavior problem. And because of the time that I come up in, you know, parents were being split apart. The household was being broken up. I wasn't being taught what I should have been being taught because the education system was trying to groom me for what they wanted me to be, and I was rebellious against it. You know, I got suspended, I can't tell you how many times, for just drawing in class after my work was done. Yeah, I ended up being put out of, you know, had to quit school because they were trying to expel me. I was on the advanced diploma. They were trying to expel me. I had teachers would mark stuff on my paper wrong. And I'd go to the office. The principal, they didn't want it. I was just a rebellious child because I didn't understand how to control my anger because they wouldn't listen to me. You know? Because I know I was going to get my behind kicked if I go home with a bad grade. And I know you doing this to me. These are the things that happened to me coming up in the education system. And it made me a rough man. I had to grow up into a rough man because then I had to come out into a world where I knew nothing about. With education that was an education system that's done tried to break me from the start. Learning how to do things the hard way. Because nobody wanted to, you know, could come in and tell me how to do certain things. I had to find out the hard way. Consolidated, educated commentary. It's just commentary. You can't tell me how to talk. This is how I talk. This is my life. This life as a child came up as a grown-up. As a child, I thought like a child. And as I became a man, I put away childish things. I'm a man today. And I can talk about those things that were pertaining to me as a child. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now, here I am, a grown man, telling people that still have that same child mind. You know, this child come through the same life that you did, if not worse. I've had to suffer a lot of things an individual should never have to go through. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people out there like me. And a lot of them have been grabbed up by society, and they were once ostracized, have been grabbed up by society and showed a little nurturing. Now they're doing exactly what society wanted them to do in the first place. I couldn't teach you academically how to be the demon that I wanted you to be, so I will bring you out into the world and teach you societally, or, you know, how to be one. Nurture you out here and let you see that, okay, you couldn't make it academically, let me see what you can do physically. Let me see what I can get you to do out here in the world to get you to keep this, what I'm talking about, going, this hell. That's why you got to understand, this is for each and every one, each and every soul. If you are operating in a consolidated, educated world, then God can plainly see what your commentary is. Look at your comment. This world is your commentary. I don't want, that's why I'm giving mine right now. My commentary is totally separate from this world. When God look down and see my commentary, he gonna hear what I'm saying. This is where I'm coming from. I'm not speaking from a place of where the world groomed me. Because God answered all them questions man wanted to beat me down for asking. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't so much man that was doing it. It was woman. I got beat down by women. I was always told to shut up by women. I was always my heart was on my sleeve because of a woman. To the point to where God had to bring me to a place where I was show me where I was a slave to a female, and it brought me to a place where it wasn't about sex, cause that ain't been a thing. That ain't been a thing in my life that's been plentiful. It was about the mongering of what God calls whore. That word encompasses a lot of different things because that word whore simply says it goes against God. Consolidated, educated commentary. You can't tell me what the hell to say. Because it's my life. And my life has been my life. When it comes to and I say, I tell the world, my life has been a journey with God. The very God that I hear everybody say they looking for. I remember this God when I was a kid. I remember thinking I was on TV because I felt somebody looking at me, and I remember talking. That was one particular instance where I remember that being out just being in the yard as a kid. Nobody knows this until now. I don't have no reason to lie. I thought I was on television, and I said, somebody watching me. I said, you watching me? And I was just talking to the air, and I heard, yeah, I'm watching you. Told me to go in the house because it was getting dark. And I know we lived in a place where there was snakes that crawled all the time. God let me know that He's always been watching over me. That's why I can come in here today and have a consolidated, educated commentary about my life when it comes to the Spirit. I don't have a reason to lie to people. When I tell you this is the truth, it's the truth. If you call yourself a child of God or a worshiper or a follower, then you know the story of Noah, Moses. Anybody that has ever come and said that anything that God has told them has always been a fight. The majority always want to fight the one that comes to tell the truth. And the majority is full of bad behaviors. But the majority always wants to contend against the one. There was but one Christ that came to the earth. The world contended against him. But they were looking for him. The world looking for many gods to come to save them, but there ain't but one. But all of them will tell you there ain't but one God, but all of them looking for many. But when one come, they contest, all of them gather together and contest against him. Explain to me how that works. Where are the true followers? Where are the true worshipers? Where are the true children of God? Consolidated, educated commentary. You can't tell me what to say. This is my life. I'm just expressing it. If you've had the same experience or similar experience, if you know God without somebody actually having to tell you anything, then you are a child that comes from the descendants. Now, if you have to be taught by one that already knows without actually ever having to go to a college, because they can speak from the Spirit and they speaking from the Spirit because it convicts the Spirit in you about something you're doing, and you want to continue, then you are a follower. Now, when you are excited because you know all those things that you have heard to be the truth, because the Spirit has started dancing in you, because you want to be part of that life, then you are a worshiper. So for all of those that want to try to filter out who God's true children is, God said he have made a people special to himself. Those are the people that know God without actually having to ever be taught about him. Because they know him. They know him. And they can tell you about it. They don't have to go to school to tell you about it. Because it's up to you to believe. I don't have to tell. I know who I am. I know exactly who I am. My people, the people that I come from, need to hear me. We've been wandering around lost. God has revealed himself to me. You know, God revealed himself to me even as a child. So I've always known God. You understand what I'm saying? So I ain't had to go to no seminary school. I can read the Bible. I've always known what the Bible said. The strange part of what I've always knew came when people want to teach me what they want to know about. I'm like, no, that ain't what that means. It's not what that means. And I'm getting treated like people, I'm getting treated like people say, this is how you're supposed to act in the Bible. I'm like, wait a minute, now I know God ain't telling you to do this to me. But you saying this is in the Bible. I'm like, nah, get on away from me. That's why I come away from people. I come away from the world because the world got a distorted view of who God is. I left and walked away from everything. I'm to my multiple times. I come out west and lived in a city on the street for 5 years. Man ain't done a thing for me, but I ain't hurt for nothing. I'm talking about penniless. Did it because I know who God is, out of obedience. Walked away from everything. And 5 years, and man can't take credit for not one thing. And I sit here today, man still can't. I'm still homeless. I'm blind and I'm free. You understand what I'm saying? I'm free. God been set me free. I've been free. And I'm trying to tell people how you walking around in bondage because you're locked down by the things you think God is giving you. And God is not going to give you a bunch of ankles to hold you in the place that he's finna set afire. Consolidated, educated, commentary. You can't tell me what to say because this is my life. Now the life I know is mine, God done showed me, hey, where it's going. And through my relationship with my Heavenly Father, I pray for those souls that don't even know the Father, that you may get another chance in a place where I have a relationship with my Father, where I have a house at. Now, if you don't believe that, you don't have to. You ain't gonna stop me from going. I'm just here to let you know. You're welcome. I don't care who you are and I don't care what you done to me. Because in that house, you got another chance. But if you want to stay in this one, nail your clothes down to the floor and pour some gas on yourself. I don't care. But it's out of love that I offer. Yeah. You don't have to take it. But if you think you're going to build a house, I'm here to let you know, in the spirit is where life lasts forever. Jesus came down here that we may have life in the spirit more abundantly. Anybody in their right mind know this place ain't gonna last forever, so why, don't make no sense to be trying to build a heaven down here or preserve life. You're gonna preserve life in a place that's finna be set afire for. You don't want them kind of preserves. I'm telling you, they ain't gonna taste good. Yeah. Consolidated, educated commentary. Man, I'm gonna keep shoveling dirt down in this hole I'm hoping somebody got sense enough to shake it off and pack it under their feet. Cause ain't nobody going except for the one that's on the top of the pile that has sense enough to do so. Shake it off, pack it under your feet, cause you know it's something that you need to hear. Cause if you think you ain't been running around in no dirt, you wouldn't have to shake off none to get to the top of a pile, get to the top of a hole that's dirty all from the top all the way down to the bottom. And if you think you're in the bottom of that hole and you clean, don't shake nothing. Don't shake nothing, cause you don't need to come up nowhere. You will be buried, and you will stay in that dog where you refuse to shake off. Cause what I'm tossing, all it is stuff to fill up a hole for those that want to come out of it. And those that know exactly what I'm talking about, it's old Negro spiritual. Shake it off and pack it under your feet so you can get higher. Shake off the fact that it's being said to you. Shake off all of that resistance that you don't want to hear and pack it under your feet so you can continue to hear what's being said. Just keep shaking it off. If you don't want to hear, shake that part off and just hear. The parts that you shaking off is all the bad stuff. The thing, don't listen to what he's talking about. Shake it off and pack it under your feet and listen to what I'm talking about. And watch and see if you don't start to get higher. Huh? It's just what it is, man. Consolidated, educated commentary. That's just the educated part of it. Comes on the education. This system that you allowing to raise your children in is a system where it's teaching your kids to keep this world evil. Because it taught you to have kids to do so. Because it raised you in the same manner. It did me the same way. I had to get beat. And still, guess what? You ain't do nothing. You ain't do nothing. I had a teacher tell me I was going to be dead before I was 16 years old. I'm like, damn, if I keep hanging around you, I'm going to be dead before the end of the day. Somebody hit me with thick pieces of wood into my back. They didn't care where they swung at. You get hit with the side of a thick piece of wood, bro. I'm telling you. I remember one time where the teacher broke me down, but there were two of them out there. They were gang paddling me, man. And that lady messed around and hit me in the back, and I fell to the floor. They tried to cover it up. I couldn't tell nobody, because every time I told somebody something, I got in trouble. I was abused. Really, I was abused as a child. By strangers. You know? The very system that everybody thinks so great. I'm one of them children that abused it, that they abused. And I wasn't smart, and it wasn't because I wasn't smart enough. Yeah. Consolidated, educated commentary. It's my life.